Welcome back to another example, another video comparing Project 2025 and Agenda 47, where we show that they are both the same thing. As much as Donald Trump wants to deny that Project 2025 is not something he's involved with or not something he's connected to, and he wants to have everybody look at Agenda 47 instead, it's the same thing. If it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, quack quack, MFers, it's a duck. So here we go. Let's take a look, shall we? We have the Trump-Vance Agenda 47 page. They talk about the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act is an additional tool along with universal baseline tariffs to shrink the trade deficit and bring back American jobs as well and wealth. President Trump announced a plan to replace the Biden system of punishing domestic producers and rewarding outsiders with a new system that rewards domestic production while taxing foreign companies. Rather than, of course, the tax on foreign companies gets passed on to the people, but, Donald Trump doesn't understand that because he's an idiot. Rather than raising taxes on American producers, President Trump will impose tariffs on foreign producers through a system of universal baseline tariffs on most imported goods, which will be passed on to the consumers in most cases. Higher tariffs will increase incrementally if other countries manipulate their currency or otherwise engage in unfair trading practices, which will cause those companies from those countries to, increase the prices of goods that are sold in this country, i.e., negatively impacting the consumers in this country. As tariffs on foreign countries go up, taxes on American workers, families, and businesses can come down. They could. Will they? No. I would never believe that Donald Trump would actually have the other taxes come down. Not one bit. Now, if you could prove to me with an argument and show me the numbers that say, hey, even though we're going to put this high tariff on the thing, and if you even if you admitted that those tariffs would get passed on to consumers, if you then were able to show an offset in the reduction of taxes paid, then I might believe you. But in reality, it's not, the people who are lower income, who might not have that much, taxes paid at all, are not going to see a significant tax decrease if you reduce like income taxes or whatever, or other taxes, but they're still going to have to pay even more money on these tariffed goods, which is going to make it a regressive tax on American consumers, even though he's continuously claiming that this is a tax on foreign countries and foreign entities, etc., etc., etc. Higher tariffs create millions of new jobs. Increase real household income. Boost GDP. Increase domestic manufacturing output and generate hundreds of billions of dollars in new government revenue. I'm Donald Trump, and I'm playing the part of Lucy holding the football. Go ahead, Charlie Brown, kick it. President Trump's universal baseline tariffs will restore a level playing field for American businesses worldwide. Will it? I don't believe you. President Trump will revoke China's most favored nation trade status as long as it's long past time China stops getting preferential treatment as they undermine American national security interests, yada, yada, yada. Under President Trump's leadership, I'm using that term loosely. I'm sure they said it with a straight face or typed it with a straight face. The U.S. will once again become a manufacturing powerhouse and attain economic independence from China. From China! Yeah. Then let's just kind of scroll back up. Trump Reciprocal Trade Act will restore fairness to trade, boosting American industry. The Trump Reciprocal Trade Act has a wealth of precedent in American history. Just because there have been tariffs doesn't mean yours are going to be any good. Historically, America imposed tariffs on 95% of all imports, with an average tariff of 37%, which is less than what you're presenting. Between 1816 and 1947. One might think that, the economies of 1816 and even the economy of 1947 might be a little different than the economy today, and as such might operate under different rules, and tariffs might affect things differently than it did back then. U.S. tariffs are amongst the lowest in the world, making America the most import-pressured country in the world. The current China average tariff is 341% higher than the U.S., and the European Union tariff is 50% higher than the U.S. World average tariff rate is almost twice the U.S. Okay, whatever. I'll take those at face value. For example, food items like cereals and other preparatory goods are tariffed at 39.2%, by India 19%, by China and only 3.1% in the U.S. Well, here's the thing, though. When Trump did his tariffs with things on, like, foodstuffs, he tried to kill the American farmer. The American farming industry was under attack by Donald Trump's tariffs. And only by giving them more money to offset the losses was he able to completely stop the shutdown, to stop the bleeding, if you will. So let's flip on over to Project 2025. In wake of COVID-19 pandemic, almost certainly spawned a. Hold on, is this also on? Yeah, okay. America's trade deficit in goods and services with major trading partners. Of course, they say communist China, European Union, etc. So of course they have to say communist China all the time. Laying the trade deficit predicate, the great football coach Bill Parcells once said, "You are what your record says you are. America's record on trade, blah blah blah." Okay, whatever. Of course, they use a football analogy. My football analogy of Lucy and the football is much more apt, I think, when it comes to this stuff. Hey, Impeccable Living, good to see you. As for U.S. trade deficit in goods, blah, blah, blah. Ken mentioning communist China. These trade deficit statistics implicitly measure the large amounts of Americans' manufacturing and defense industrial base and supply chains have been offshored to foreign lands. Such offshoring not only suppresses real wages of American blue-collar workers, I mean, does it? It might, but prove it to me. In the wake of COVID-19 pandemic, almost certainly spawned in a CCP biological weapons lab in Wuhan, China, of course having nothing to do with tariffs. So of course, here's the one comparison between the two. Trump's obsessed with China. The Project 2025 guys are obsessed with China, so they're making a point on China. Here's they cite Donald Trump in the 2019 State of the Union address. Tonight, I'm also asking you to pass the United States Reciprocal Trade Act so that if another country places an unfair tariff on American product, we can charge them at the exact same tariff as the exact same product they sell to us. What was it that Donald Trump was talking about? The Trump Reciprocal Trade Act. So Donald Trump wants to pass the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act. Project 2025 wants us to pass the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act. This is all the example that you need that these two things are, again, one and the same on these policies, on this particular policy. And as we should make more of these videos, we're going to show you that these policies are the same between both sets of plans because they're the same plan. World Trade Organization with 164 members governs international trade rules. Under most favored nation rule, each WTO member must apply the lowest tariffs that applies to the products of any one country to the products of every other WTO country, blah, blah, blah. As a poster child for the kind of non-reciprocal tariffs the American manufacturers often face, MFN tariff for automobiles applied by the U.S. is only 2.5. In contrast, EU charges 10, Communist China 15, and Brazil 35. Non-reciprocal tariff rates under most favored nation rule. From the perspective of strategic game theory, the WTO's MFN rule provides no incentive for higher tariff countries to lower their tariffs. Blah, blah, blah. Trade deficit impacts on the U.S. Reciprocal Trade Act. Under current United States laws, an American president has limited ability to fight back against the higher MFN tariffs now being levied against American workers, farmers, ranchers, etc. To address this non-reciprocity stalemate, President Trump urged Congress in 2019 to pass the United States Reciprocal Trade Act. Under U.S. RTA, the president would have the ability to bring any American trading partner that is currently applying higher non-reciprocal tariffs to the negotiating table, and if that failed, you could mirror the tariffs. It was presented by Sean Duffy the following month. Of course, they're saying that there was a poll that showed 80% of the respondents supported it, but depends on how you worded it if it was a push poll or not, right? Following the introduction of the USRTA, the White House Office of Trade and Manufacturing Policy ran simulations to estimate the impact it might have on your overall trade. The sample consisted of trading partners, blah, blah, blah. But basically, again, the whole deal here is that Donald Trump wants to pass the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act and use it as a tool to baseline tariffs to shrink the trade deficit. and they want to do the same exact thing. So if the Project 2025 is talking about doing something, and if Donald Trump's Agenda 47 is talking about doing the same exact thing, then why shouldn't we believe that these two entities are in, agreement? They're in cahoots, whatever you want to call it. These two ideas agree completely with each other on this issue. They agreed completely with the other issue that we shared before, and I'm sure as we make more videos, as the election is coming up and approaching, as we make more of these videos, we're going to see all the different ways that Project 2025 and Agenda 47 are the same plan. So don't let conservatives tell you that these plans are different, that Trump has nothing to do with these Project 2025 plans, because, again, they're the same thing. So if you see somebody talking about tariffs or talking about any other video that I create in this playlist, then you go ahead and share it with your friends. Be like, look, Liberal Dan's already talked about this, and he's telling you completely that these two plans are exactly the same, and here are the playlists that show why. Here are the videos in the playlist that show why. Or if you find the particular specific topic that you want to talk about, again, share that specific video with them. So what do you think? Do you agree with me that Project 2025 and Agenda 47 are the same thing when it comes to tariffs and trade? Or do you magically now think that it's even differently, even though I've presented what I've presented? Leave your comments below. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and of course, have a good day.